Today I'll be talking about my Jean, how I build her, and how I use her in everyday Genshin Impact gameplay. So I think Jean is probably like one of those characters that works well with any team. She can do good damage, do good heals. She has some form of crowd control. She can abuse fall damage, and she has really low cooldowns. And I think the best party to put with Jean is a well developed party because I don't build around her. But Jean basically takes up so much roles that it allows you to have a more flexible party that you can either min max or just straight up create reactions without losing DPS, heals, and anything that you'd usually use for a more dedicated character because Jean fills in those spots. So my Jean is not a main DPS per se because I don't really use her to deal white damage. I rotate her in and out as you can see here from a little bit of my gameplay and you'll see more later on of. It's because like her E has probably like has the highest ratio of scaling, damage scaling per cooldown, which is like 6 seconds. She's pretty close up with Venti, but Venti eventually outscales her because of his constellations, and he has like animal resistance reduction. But another thing is that Jean does not take a long time to drop all her skills. She can go into the E into the Q in like a second, and which gives you time to like switch out your character, create some reactions, uh, make use of the swirl, and eventually after you do all those combinations, her E will be ready for another go, which eventually just like fills up her elemental burst because also of her talent that gives like 15% or something recharge for her Q. So as you can see here, my party is mostly in and out, in and out. I make use of that overload damage, superconduct, do it, make use of the melt, and eventually like pop in Jean every now and then to pop that E. And if I ever did need heals, I can just like auto attack with Jean and whatever. But yeah, even in like places where you don't have any other healers, like Jean can be the character for you to sustain your team as well, and make use of that iframe for her ultimate burst, just to like dodge big attacks while keeping uptime on your DPS because you don't have to run away or dodge as much as you would if her elemental burst is not there. So this is how I build up Jean in terms of her artifacts. Just a heads up, I have like 2 constellations on her, and this one increases the damage of Gale Blade by 40% if you hold it for more than a second. So you'll never like really see that in effect unless I hold it long enough, and there's gonna be an audio cue just to let you know that the damage is in effect. People's ages, when Jean picks up an elemental orb particle, all members have increased attack speed and movement speed. So sometimes a good trick for me to like swap into Jean, grab the elemental particles, and then switch to somebody else. But anyway, so going to her attributes, I well, you might want to like maximize your attack if you're trying to like build her solely as a healer with a gladiator set or anything like that. But I already have Chi Chi on my team, so and like the burst of her, the burst heal on her ultimate is just like comes back so many times that you don't really need that consistent healing unless you're like somewhere just like the abyss or anything challenging. And for her damage, of course, I build up that crit rate. I ideally wanted that 1 to 2 ratio for crit rate and crit damage, but the RNG gods would not have that, so it's kind of like 1 to 3 close, more or less. And of course, I put the Anemo damage on her because of her E and her Q, which I said is like pretty spammable. So like in short fights you can make use of that. In long fights it just like consistently comes back and back and back. Especially since I'm dealing elemental reactions every few seconds, it just like charges way up. So for artifacts, I built like 2 Venerer pieces and 2 Gladiator pieces. I was initially thinking about the Gambler for a stronger E, but the Gambler does not have a 5-star variant, so I don't want to lose out on those percentage when if I don't switch out to like 5-star artifacts. So I got pretty lucky here, to be honest. You want the crit rate circlet with big crit damage. So that rolled all in the right spot, and I'm pretty thankful for it, to be honest. And the feather, same, a little bit of crit rate, some crit damage, basically makes up my entire build. What I don't have perfected though is the Gladiator set, which is like mostly energy recharge, useful. I personally would rather have crit damage because in big boss fights I can always just recharge my elemental burst from the reaction, so I don't really need it that much. But we'll see what the mobs give me eventually. And as for the flower, same thing. Really good in the 15% attack with no crit damage whatsoever. And just crit damage just scales in this point of the game, to be honest. Because it gives me the option, if the mobs are hitting hard, I can just come in, dump 20k, 40k damage with an E and a Q, and then switch out, do my thing. And I just got this today actually. This goblet, this is why you don't throw away goblets that don't match the element of their set, because it really doesn't matter. You have a 4-piece and you're gonna have 1 piece for a goblet that can be whatever element you need. And yeah, I think some of it went to attack and some to crit damage. I'm not too mad about it. And yeah, that's what shifted my perfect 1-to-2 ratio. And for the weapon, I won't dwell too much about it because the options are not always the same with everybody. Of course, I think the BIS is Aquila Favonia, but if you don't have access to that, you can always use any sword that has a substat that increases either base attack, well, attack percentage, or just has a high base attack, to be honest. And crit rate will come in handy too if you have good enough crit rate, 50%. You can always transition your circlet into crit damage to close in that gap, so to speak. Actually, I just got this later on before the banner switch over. I was initially using this Royal Longsword. So yeah, so it comes from your what's that, Paimon shop for your masterless disc or something. But yeah, it's gives you good critical too. You stack 1, 2, 3, pop the E, pop the Q, and pretty much guarantee the critical. But yeah, all the other weapons are pretty much more or less the same. You just gotta make sure the base status checks out, your substat is either attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, and if you have enough crit rate or crit damage in the substat, you can always compensate with it with your artifacts, of course, because the weapon section is one of the most let's see, what's the word I'm looking for, we have least freedom with, because not everybody's gonna roll the same. Yeah, the flute is a good option too. And for 3 stars, I personally don't know. I haven't delved too much into it, but that's the gist of it. Basically, good base attack. Keep upgrading that stuff. Attack percent or crit rate, crit damage, and adjust accordingly to your artifacts. So that's most of it. But I just want to repeat that my Jean is not a main DPS type character as per the meta, because I rotate her in and out, and I think that's just where she shines. She fills in so much roles in a party, deals really high damage, heavy sustains, and basically having her around just makes it your life way easier. It helps too that a lot of her skills don't really need setups. You don't need a lot of buffs on them. You can just use it as it is. And a lot of people would say oh, her E makes it harder because you have to chase opponents. Well, if you time your stamina consumption properly, or have like other characters that have skills that can chase enemies, it's really not a big deal. If anything else, hold that for like a quick half a second, put it on the ground, enemies bounce to the floor, you don't have to go anywhere. Also, another thing is that if you have her elemental burst up, you have the little arena created from an emo energy, you can bounce your enemies in and out to afflict more damage. So this really works great with overload, which knocks back enemies. A lot of the other characters have skills that knock mobs away, and you can just like, you know, pop them out, pop them in, extra damage. So this clip here was before I hit AR 45, and before I got some upgrades for Jean. But yeah, the gameplay is mostly the same, you know, drop in my E, and because of that very quick deployment of her skill, I can get out of a dangerous situation right away in time for me to like maybe use Q to use the iframe, switch out to another character, or whatever. It's just very versatile. So I'm not actually saying that this is how you should build Jean, or you should pick her over other characters, but I'm just showing you how I play Jean, how I make her useful. And if you like what you see, and if like some stuff I have said throughout this video makes sense to you and you think would apply and enhance your Genshin Impact experience, hey, go for it. You know, Jean, exactly like her personality in the game, everybody comes to her for help, and that's why she's the shining star of my party. Ever since I got her, because you know, I need damage, she's there. I need heal, she's there. Mobility, everything. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to write in the comments. If you like this kind of content, I'll probably make better videos in the future. Make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.